Alright, so today on Twitter, I had a little bit of a dialogue, if you can call it that, with somebody with the handle of @Mimi_FTW. Yeah, the topic was abortion. So, it's time I do a video response on this, but also, I want to make this video cover as much as I can on the issue, so that way, next time the discussion comes up with somebody, I can just show them this video, and you can see my arguments right there. I don't have to constantly repeat myself. So, without further ado, I want to bring up this topic of abortion. I've got my notepad right here with some of the words to remind me of what subtopics I want to cover under this. Alright, now I said if you can call it a dialogue, and I meant it, because it really degraded to Mimi calling me a righty, and in her mind, righties are religious zealots, bigots, racists, etc., etc., etc. So I'm going to respond to this real quick. My position on abortion is that the act of abortion done successfully results in the termination of a human life. And in my mind, it doesn't matter what religion you are, be it a Christian fundamentalist, you can be a Muslim, you can be a Jewish person, you can be a Mormon, you can be an atheist, you can be agnostic to the faith. It doesn't matter. You can still value human life. Right? And this is my reason, for not considering abortion to be something that should be taken so cavalier. And I don't think I put my religious faith out on YouTube or Twitter, so I'll go ahead and cover this and just blow this little surprise for you here, Mimi. I'm an agnostic, leaning heavily atheist. To further explain, I believe that yes, there is a small possibility that there may be a God, and maybe, just maybe, one of the religions may be right, but the odds are much better in my mind that there probably isn't a God, that there's a scientific explanation for every swinging thing that happened in this universe, or that will happen in the future. So, there you go, Mimi. There you go. The other thing I wanted to address was you seem to think that even though we haven't said punishment, that we mean that by being against abortion. And that somehow the word consequence is code for punishment. Well, I assure you it's not. Look up the definitions of both words. You will find that while punishment can be a consequence, the two are not exactly the same, to put it that way. You see, as an adult, I'll give you an example. Both states in the U.S., you have to be 21 to be able to purchase beer, right? And the reason for that being is because we want to make sure you're an adult before you purchase that beer and consume that beer. With that being said, it's an adult freedom. With this adult freedom comes adult responsibilities. When you act irresponsible with this, there are adult consequences. Very much so. Same way with the driver's license. Now, I know this particular driver's license, you have to be 21 to get. It's a CDL Class A. But your standard Class C driver's license in most states, you only have to be 16 to get. But on the same note, when you get it with the understanding that you're taking on an adult freedom. There are adult responsibilities and there are adult consequences, to include death if you act irresponsibly enough, or if somebody else acts irresponsibly even. It's the same way with the concealed handgun license. In Texas, unless you're active duty military, you have to be 21 to get one of those. With adult freedom comes adult responsibilities and adult consequences. Since we want to bring up the topic of sex, that too is an adult freedom, carries adult responsibilities and adult consequences, not just pregnancies. STDs is another example. If you sleep with somebody under the age of consent, prison could be a consequence of that action. Now, one of the questions I posed to you was, did somebody force that woman to have sex? If so, it's rape. It's punishable under the law already. And very few people would object to a woman getting an abortion in those circumstances. If it's not rape, if it's consensual, there are a myriad of options of birth control the woman can take so she doesn't have to get an abortion. Condoms being one. I know it takes some of the joy out, but guess what? It protects you against pregnancies and STDs. And if you don't like condoms, there are a myriad of other options you can take, which, okay, granted, they're not going to protect you against STDs quite like condoms are, and condoms aren't expensive or anything like that, but at least they'll protect you from pregnancy. Another point you brought up is that supposedly all of us are just concerned what's going on with in your bedroom. Believe me, we're not. I don't give a damn as long as it doesn't affect me. But here's one thing that does affect me in a very indirect way, and that would be taxpayer-funded abortions. I don't know what the rest of y'all pay in taxes, but I know me as a taxpayer, my federal income tax rate is 25%. That's 1/4 of what I earn. And you know what? I'd say it's pretty damn screwed up that I'm not allowed to speak about what goes on in your bedroom, even though the consequences of what comes out of that, I might very well have to pay for. Don't you? I think that's a little bit unfair, to say the least. What? Whatever you do in your bedroom, I have to pay for the consequences for, or I might very well have to pay for the consequences for, but yet I have no say in what goes on? You want to pull that card? Moreover, I'm going to bring up a topic a little unrelated, but there's a lot of bleed over. WIC. Again, a woman decides to have a child in less than ideal circumstances. I could be stuck paying for that too. But yet all of a sudden it's wrong for me to say, hey, whoa, wait. You're being a little irresponsible here with your sex life. Give me a break. Give me a break, you stuck up. Let's see. You said at the end of the day, abortion's legal for whatever reason, yada, yada, yada. Well, guess what? At the end of the day, you're still acting in an unethical fashion. At the end of the day, regardless of if it's legal or not, there are several reasons why somebody would get an abortion even though it's legal, and that it's not an ethical decision to make. Hell, in Sweden, I understand that there have been women that have gotten abortions solely based on the gender of their child. How ethical is that? How righteous is that? It doesn't matter what your religion is on that one. Taking such a cavalier stance on that, it's abhorrent. You know another thing that's abhorrent? Late term and partial birth abortions. You made the comment that I quote, unlearn biology? No. You know, I've taken some college course I've taken. Anatomy and Physiology 1 and Anatomy and Physiology 2. Guess what? In the last portion of gestation, you have more neurons there than you do at any point in your life. It's scientifically proven that you feel more pain at that portion of your life than you do anywhere else in your life. I think you need to go back and learn biology. Let's see. Oh, and the other part of it I wanted to bring up. How do you feel about child support? I mean, like, say, you know, a guy gets a woman pregnant, but he doesn't want to have the child. The woman does. Do you think that maybe we should change the laws at this point to absolve him of his responsibility for child support? If so, why isn't there a movement to do so? Why isn't there a serious movement to do so? If there's a woman's right to choose, why isn't there a man's right to choose? And he's not even asking about terminating the pregnancy. He's just asking about, hey, I didn't really want the child. Do I really have to be financially responsible for it? You can go ahead and have the child if you want. You see how that works? There's kind of a double standard on that there too, I'd like to bring up. Oh, and by the way, here in my home state, if you're delinquent on child support, you go to jail. They don't play around with that here. You have a CHL and you're delinquent on child support, you lose this. Another bit of food for thought I wanted to have put out there. So, when you hear about the topic of abortion and all of a sudden you're making this sound like, you know, we're all of a sudden being sexist against you because we don't think that there should be such a cavalier attitude to this issue, well, you need to think again. Alright. For everybody else, thanks for watching. Y'all take her easy out there.